Welcome, my dear darlings, to yet another fantastic English online class of Sri Gokulam Public School. Good morning to all my lovely stars. In today's class, we are going to study a very humorous extract from Jerome K. Jerome's novel, Three Men in a Boat. The name of the lesson is Packing. Jerome K. Jerome is an English writer best known for his humorous and comic novels. His most famous writing was a travelogue named Three Men in a Boat. This novel, or rather travelogue, explains in a very humorous manner about how he and his friends together went for a trip for boating near the Thames River. In the introduction of the novel, he tells that all three of them, that is Jerome, Harris and George, were very tired after hectic office schedules and they were imagining to have a lot of illness. Finally, they decide that they all need to take a break and go for an outing. After a lot of discussion, it was decided that they would go for boating in River Thames. The lesson begins with Jerome, Harris and George waiting to get their things packed to start their journey, or rather outing trip for boating. Now let's get into the lesson and see all the humorous way how they were trying to pack the things they have. Now all of us have gone for an outing or a trip, visited many places in our holidays. Most often the most hectic part of the trip, which is packing, is done by definitely your mother. Packing is something which needs a lot of calculations, planning and organizing. If we do not have that, the entire thing can get into a mess and the trip even can get to be a really nasty one. The lesson in general explains to us about having plan and organization in our life. Now let's get into the story. Jerome said that he would do the packing. Jerome thought that packing was a skill that he had mastered. So he told his friends, George and Harris, that they needn't worry and he would do the packing. George and Harris quickly agreed to this offer, and while George sat very leisurely on an easy chair, Harris sat on a chair with his legs on a table. Jerome did not like what his friends had did because now the entire duty of packing fell upon Jerome. This made Jerome feel very angry. Of course, when he suggested to do the packing, he did not actually mean to go into the process of doing the packing or taking on the responsibility on himself. What he actually meant was to give directions to his friends and make them do the work. He wanted to boss them, nag them, and shout at them for making silly mistakes and provide suggestions for doing it right. But now both of his friends were resting and he had to go through the process of doing the packing by himself. At this point, Jerome recollects an incident when he once lived with a man who would lazily sit on a sofa and watch Jerome do all the work. The man said that he found it very enjoyable to see Jerome do all the work. This irritated Jerome because he said that he is not of the same nature. According to him, he was a very energetic person and he found it very difficult when he saw others doing the work. So what would he do? Of course, he would go around them and give directions to them on how to do the work. He does not get into the work and help them, but places his hands inside the pockets and give them directions to do. He said that he had a very generous heart and helpful mentality by doing this. Now, Jerome had to do the packing while his friends were resting. It took a long time for him to pack the bag, and as he was about to close the bag, suddenly Harris jumps in and says and asks, "Have you put the boots in?" This irritated Jerome because Harris could have told us before. Why did he have to wait till the last moment to remind Jerome to pack the boots? Upon hearing Harris's comment, George starts to give a wild laugh which angers Jerome even more. However, without any comments, Jerome opens the bag to put the boots in. It is at this point that a horrible thought strikes him. He wonders if he had packed his toothbrush in the bag. Jerome says that his toothbrush is a thing which gives him constant trouble and makes his life a misery. The reason behind this is that he always forgets to pack his toothbrush. Like, he would wake up in the middle of the night wondering if he has packed the toothbrush, and then gets up from the bed and goes hunting for the brush and packs it. In the morning, he realizes that he has to brush his teeth, and so he has to unpack the bag, find the brush and do his brushing. After that, he forgets to repack the brush. Finally, in a hurry, he has to put the brush inside his pocket, wrapping in a handkerchief. Now here again, Jerome is in a doubt whether he has packed his toothbrush. So what does he do? He goes back and removes everything from the bag and creates a whole new mess. He goes searching in for his toothbrush, but he does not find it at all. He says that he found Harris's and George's toothbrush almost 18 times, but his own toothbrush was missing. And then he takes time to lift each item and shake it to see if it is stuck in between any of the items that is packed. Finally, he discovers his toothbrush from inside a boot. Now, peace restored, he has to pack the bag once again. When he finishes, George teases him by asking whether he has packed the soap. Jerome does not give importance to it and closes the bag to complete his packing. It is at this point he realizes that by mistakenly he had kept his spectacles inside the bag. He has to again open it, take out his glasses and close the bag again. When he finishes, it is almost 10:05 p.m. at night. Now there are the hampers to be done. Hampers means the baskets which are filled with food items and utensils since they are going for a picnic trip. As they have to start their trip next day morning at 10 a.m., Harris offers help to Jerome by suggesting that the packing of the hampers would be done by Harris and George. Jerome finds relief and he agrees to Harris's offer. Now Jerome takes rest and George and Harris start packing the hampers. Initially, Harris goes on with doing it in a very casual and easy manner. They do this to show Jerome that they are skilled packers and they know how to do things in a very organized and professional manner. But knowing his friends, Jerome says that except for George, Harris is the worst packer in the world. He looks around and finds piles of plates, cups, kettles, and many other food items lying around to be packed. Of course, Jerome knows that the packing incident is going to get a lot more exciting.